Now I'm a mommy and I've just kind of have to embrace my womanhood and my femininity, which I love and I'm embracing. I still have that side of myself, the rebel, the fiery parts, but sometimes you have to quell the fire a little bit, because it actually is really powerful to be feminine and to be soft. So that's what I think this new era is for me.
Something so beautiful happens when art and life meet. Something so beautiful happens when you give yourself, when you're vulnerable, when you open yourself up to give birth. And today, my very special guest gave birth. And we are going to sit with her to talk about exactly what that means. And when I say birth, I mean birth musically. She let go herself. She let go of her emotions. She let herself be raw in this beautiful body of work, in this beautiful art that she's presenting to the world. And what am I talking about? I am talking about the good side of things. Who am I talking about? None other than Kelissa, reggae global, let me say global music star. Allow me to welcome and sit with us as we have this conversation with Kelissa about her new project, The Good Side of Things. Kelissa, my darling, welcome. How are you?
Thanks, and I'm good. I'm feeling good to finally get the music out there
I mean,
and
let's talk.
feedback.
I'm glad you said that. Let's stay right there. Because in 2012, you introduced yourself with Rebel in Disguise, right? And then you
Do your homework.
expanded then you expanded your sound into the eclectic soulful fusion of Spellbound in 2017. And here we are in 2026 with the good side of things. When you look through that time and space, take us through where Kelissa was versus where Kelissa is today.
Well, it's just, years always mean growth. I was definitely from Rebel in Disguise. I mean, even just the title, I was a lot more fiery and energetic and, young, youthful, rebellious. And I guess now I'm a mommy and I've just kind of have to embrace my womanhood and my femininity, which I love and I'm embracing. I still have that side of myself, the rebel, the fiery parts, but sometimes you have to quell the fire a little bit, because it actually is really powerful to be feminine and to be soft. So that's what I think this new era is for me.
And as you talk about just the music and the being giving of yourself, or that fiery that you had to let go to be just a bit more vulnerable. When you wrote The Good Side of Things, what perspective, what mindset was Kelissa in?
Well, it was actually over the course of, I would say, maybe like 2 years, 3 years. And so it was also, I think, even beginning in COVID. So that would be, where 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, okay, time flies. So some of the music started then, and it's kind of evolved just like how we evolve. So where I was when I was writing that was just many different periods, and music for me is always an expression of my personal experiences, but also the things that I'm observing in the world, in my family, my community, my friends. And it's just really a space where I'm able to kind of process everything, process the emotions, process my opinions. Sometimes when you're outspoken about your opinions in in speech or in writing, it doesn't get received with the same level of acceptance. And I think that that's where music is a great space for me, where I can kind of just like be open, be, as you said, vulnerable and, genuine without it, taking on any form of judgment.
Now, as I was listening to the album, the first track, Cut and Clear, I shared this with you off air, but there was something about Cut and Clear that set the tone for the entire album. It was, I'm telling you, no lie, Kelissa, when I heard it, I mean, there was so much emotions, so much emotions. I swear I didn't want to ball. It took me it took
Yeah.
me to so many different things. It was a roller coaster ride, but it was so beautiful. It felt so raw. I want you to
Mm.
talk to us about putting together that sound.
Okay, well, for those of you who are familiar with my previous work, Spellbound had like many interludes on the album where it was really just like chanting. It was about the music, the instrumental. I personally enjoy music like that myself. And a lot of my music begins that way. It begins with just, instrumentation and melodies and humming. And so, often it evolves into, lyrics and then kind of like a full structured song. But it's also really nice sometimes where that's left out of it. And as you say, it's really just about like capturing that feeling and capturing the emotion. And we were very intentional with beginning with the song Cut and Clear. And it was called Cut and Clear even before we decided we were going to put it on the album. And even just the name, I think, is a great intro because it's kind of like clearing the space. In Jamaica, we have like slash and burn, you cut and clear is like you clearing out the space for something new, clearing out all energy for something new. And for me, that was symbolically what Cut and Clear is supposed to be doing for the album.
Now, the music shifts beautifully between heavy roots on Earthquake and Thunder and a very quiet, minimalist acoustic spaces on Trying and Uneasy. When you're writing, how do you decide when an emotion requires a driving rhythm versus a delicate, stripped back space to breathe?
Oof, that's a good question. A lot of the songs really just start from an acoustic space. And often when you add on things and you say, yeah, produce it and you're making it into this thing, it kind of loses the genuineness of it.
Mm.
And so I would say that that's where production and creating music is such a very like fine-tuned process. And you really just have to go with what feels good. For me, one of the reasons I would say that music for me takes time, and it really is a process is because it goes through so many versions where, sometimes it's this, grand thing, but it really, if you strip it back to, what the song really is, sometimes that's where it becomes the most powerful. And so it really just depends on the song and the feeling. And, I co-produced this with Chronixx. AKA I know him as Jamar. That's my co-producer Jamar. And we just kind of bounce ideas off each other and see what feelings he has a tendency to be very grand in his production. Just because I think he's just so like musical and there's all of these ideas that he's having and he's receiving. But for me, I also love the simplicity. And I think that was just such a nice synergy that we had, no pun intended. So yeah, it really just depends on the song and we just kind of go with what feels good.
Now, on the track Uneasy, you hit this incredible emotional climax where you sing to the good side of things. They can't take my joy away. It feels like that specific lyric is the definitive thesis statement for the entire album title.
Yes.
From a songwriting headspace, how did that exact phrase come to you? And when the world or the industry feels heavy, how do you actively anchor your creative focus or to protect your joy?
Well, we didn't know the name of the album would be The Good Side of Things. It was really in listening to the album and trying to find out what really encapsulates the full meaning of the project or what, what I mean, what title would really define it. And for me, I would say making this project has really reflected me having to have that mindset in a way, just like kind of looking at the good side of things. The process of creating is not always easy. It's just life, all the life things that you have to be, you can fight in the grain really just to like do the thing that you love the most. So in many ways it was a personal experience and also just, I would say the world is experiencing so many different emotions right now and there's just so much going on within like the world powers and by indirectly affects us as the people. And it's heavy, it's really heavy sometimes, but what can we learn from it, you know? And I think that that's what the title, The Good Side of Things, means. It's like there's always something good that can come out of it. I mean, an example for, just to throw it out there is like, we have slavery as this, really terrible thing that's happened to us as African people in the West. But look at the beautiful cultures that have come out of that, from Brazil and Afro-Cuban and just all over the Caribbean and the Americas, the African cultures, the merging of the African cultures that have happened, and the kind of music and art that we create has just been so beautiful. And without that, then, not to say that, that justifies anything, but just to say there's always a good side of things. And I do believe that that is something that Jah put us through. Sometimes we go through tribulations for a reason, because there's something that is good that's supposed to come out of it. I think that when people sometimes hit rock bottom, that's when they rise. It's like a phoenix rising out of the dust, to become their greatest. So I don't really remember the specific time that I came up with that line and that word, but for me, that feeling really encapsulates, I think, what the world needs now is just a positive outlook, and not from the be positive, ooh, not like that, but just genuinely being grateful and trying to look at the brighter side of life.
As you talk about learning some things, what has Kelissa learned about herself in writing this project?
So much. I've learned patience. My goodness, I've had to be so patient, I've learned that good things come to those who wait. I've learned that, great things take time, so I've learned also lessons about time, and just about self-empowerment, and just knowing that, like, if you want to be great, it's something that you have to work on, and, you don't have to share everything too early. You take your time until you're ready. I've also learned about a lot more about the musical process, and I've learned that I am still not the musician or the artist or anything that I want to be. There's still so much more to discover, so many sides of myself to discover, which is exciting because it just means that it keeps me challenged,
Yeah. Let's talk about the track Jah Odo, right? And I hope I'm pronouncing that properly.
Odo, yeah.
It seems like there are some, I'm hearing a different language in there. I know that you would have lived in Africa at some point, different countries over there. How has your living in those spaces shaped some of the songs that are on this project?
Well, Jah Odo means Jah love. Odo is tree, and it's spoken in Ghana and other parts of West Africa. And I, had the amazing opportunity to study abroad there when I was in school. And I spent close to like about 8 months. I was living there for a couple months, almost a year, and making music and learning a bit of that language specifically. That's the one that I took a class in. And prior to that, I lived in Tanzania, and my parents also lived in Ethiopia, so we had visited there. And just being on the continent, I was so exposed to just like a whole nother soundscape. Obviously, we come from Jamaica, and reggae music is just so deep. Caribbean music is just so deep. American music, all the music that we're exposed to. But then this was just like a whole nother level of just like music and culture. And that has most definitely influenced my soundscape and the way that I create, just because, I've absorbed all of these experiences, and I feel like music is a way that I'm able to express that. So I had help to make sure that I was getting the pronoun. It's been a few years since I've been there. So I just had to make sure I got the pronunciation right and the translations. My brethren Kofi, big up yourself, Kofi. He made sure that, what I was singing and putting down on the song really reflects what it should be. So I hope I do all of the tree speakers justice. Big up to all of the Ghanaian, then big up to all of the African, them.
Yeah. Now, right after the Sanctuary of Jah Odo, the album shifts gears completely into the heavy roots of earthquake and thunder, where you sing "It's not my culture to mingle with no vulture. Rastafari raised me, so we're breaking every chain." How do you step away from the peaceful spaces of the album and channel that absolute general inner Jah army energy to set those boundaries?
Well, I think that this is maybe the one song that gives a little hint into the fiery me, you know. I would say that it's important to be honest. It's important to be raw, you know, when you need to be. Yes, we embrace soft, and you know, in many ways also, you know, just to be able to be feminine and be proud of it, but also, you know, drawing a line where if it becomes abusive or if it becomes toxic, you know, then we know that, you know, that's when the line have a draw and the fire have a spark. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, that's what that song Earthquake and Thunder is. And you know, I grew up in a very loving Rasta family and a Rasta home, and you know, thank Jah for that. I'm so grateful for that experience. But I've also observed, you know, women very close to me, women in the community who have really experienced, you know, like very abusive experiences with their spouses. And for me, this was just really an expression of that. And, you know, Haile Selassie, you know, Rastafari is really supposed to be reverent for Haile Selassie and the way that he lives. And, you know, him and him queen crowned same time. And, you know, so for me, it's just to kind of affirm that for me and whoever is listening to it that can relate, that when you are in a space and in partnership, you have to make sure that it's something that is honoring your greatness, you know, without it being something that's abusive or something that's demeaning your femininity, you know.
Right, right. Now, a line that really anchors the album is from Trying, where you sing about the professional grit of progress. Every two steps, one comes down. For other creatives listening who might be struggling with the friction of the creative process, how do you align your daily work with your higher purpose? And Kelissa, you know I'm all about purpose, right?
Mm.
So, how do you align your daily work with higher purpose when you hit those frustrating moments?
Well, funnily enough, this song was first recorded 30 years ago by my mommy. She
Oh,
wrote the
wow.
entire song. So
Oh.
this is a Goldilocks song, and my father produced it as well. So this original song, Trying, was theirs, and this is the only cover on the album of my parents' music. And so this one is a really special one, but also so relatable because what she was saying then is just still so true now. And it's still, you know, so many artists have this experience of just kind of like hitting the brick wall until finally one day you hit it and you're through. And you know what I mean? So for me, it's just a reminder that yeah, you just have to keep on trying. Like you wake up, there are things that might discourage you, or there, you know, some days are not as good as others. But you know, from you wake up and you have life, it's another opportunity to try and keep going, you know, and keep going for what you believe in, what you love, what your soul and your heart is telling you to do.
This album explicitly explores themes of healing and self awareness. As a global artist who has toured extensively and established the Anabessa brand, how do you define your purpose through your music? Do you view a project like The Good Side of Things primarily as an artistic statement, or do you see your music as a functional tool for universal healing?
I would say both, you know, like it as an artist, those things come hand in hand. It's certainly a tool for healing. I would say first and foremost for myself, to be honest. Like that's really where it begins, you know, of just being able to, as I said earlier, just being able to like process a lot of the things that I'm experiencing or a lot of the things that I'm observing. So it's both a tool and I wouldn't say necessarily like a statement per se, but it's definitely an artistic piece, you know, and even just how we've curated the album. You know, the songs that we chose for this project were specifically chose together for, you know, the kind of cohesive sound for the message that we wanted to give. So I would definitely say it's both. It's both um, a, a channel for healing and expression, and it's also, you know, a tool for upliftment.
Let's talk about that process. And you say you co-produced this with Chronixx. What does the process look like with two musicians putting something like this so personal together?
The process is you know, it's messy, amazing, it's fun, it's challenging, there's everything in between. Working with Jamar is amazing. Like he's just so super talented, and um, we've been making music together from actually Rebel in Disguise come all the way forward to this project now. So we've definitely found our synergy musically, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to grow with someone in that, and somebody who knows you from like you're making music from when John was a boy up until, when John become a man. So, definitely a very, varied process. And, he was also creating his album at the same time. So it was, kind of like a give and take. And, I would say it really is a beautiful thing to be here and to be able to celebrate this time because it does take time, especially when it's two artists who, feel very strongly about their art. This was, I think, the first time that we actually co-wrote. So normally he's just kind of helping me to co-produce, but we co-wrote on a lot of the songs. Normally I'm like, only me to my pen, me to my lyrics, but for this time around, I definitely opened up a bit to that, and there's just something so beautiful about that too, of just somebody being able to like, why you don't try this line or say this instead, so there's definitely some of that too, which has been nice, and I'm looking forward to creating more like that with him.
Today the album belongs to the world. What is it that you want the world or people to feel when they listen to The Good Side of Things?
Well, I just want them to feel, I want people to feel inspired and hopeful. I want people to believe in themselves and to believe in their dreams, and to be tenacious in going for what they want, and being committed to the blessing that Jah has given them, because each one of us are blessed with something that we are to give to the world, so to just really believe that you are a gift to the world, and knowing that, sharing it is going to help someone, it's going to uplift someone, whether it's, you as an accountant or a lawyer or, a dancer, whatever it may be, whatever you feel drawn to, whatever your heart is telling you to do, I hope this project encourages people to honor it and to just stay on the faithful path.
And so I know that you are equally excited to get out and tour and all of those things. When you put your set list together for the good side of things, and let's say you only have 3 songs to choose.
Oh Lord.
What are the 3 songs off of the good side of things that you are going to choose?
Is it an acoustic set or a full band set?
All right, give me acoustic and give me full band. 3.
Cool. If it was an acoustic set, I would definitely do Cut and Clear. I would do All My Days and Uneasy. And it was a full band set now with Hans and everything. I would definitely do Way You Make Me Feel. I would do Earthquake and Thunder. And it's so hard to like choose one last one. Way You Make Me Feel, Earthquake and Thunder, and Skyline Rocking.
And Skyline, oh yes. Blowing over Kingston. Yeah. Kelissa, oh my goodness, The Good Side of Things. It is out. Please tell everybody where they can go and stream, where they can follow you and all of the beautiful things that you're doing with your work.
Well, it's out everywhere. I mean, whatever that means to you, wherever you listen to music, I'm hoping that is there. Otherwise, we got to link the distributor and ask him why I'm on. But it should be out everywhere, wherever you listen to music. We're hoping that you're enjoying it, and that you're choosing your favorites. I am on most social medias. I'm trying the TikTok thing. I don't know, it's new to me, but I'm trying. So I should be on all of the platforms. I do have my website as well, kelissamusic.com, and the album is also on vinyl, so you can get that on my shop online on kelissamusic.com.
Kelissa, thank you for holding space and time. You know how much I adore you as a
Oh,
sister, but as an
mutual.
artist, such a beautiful artist. Continue to create, continue to give the world your music because we need it. Again, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Cindy. It's such a joy.
All
Blessing.
right. That is Kelissa. Please go and get the project. People, look, music is out there. Good reggae music is out there. We have to support the music. The album, The Good Side of Things, all courtesy of Kelissa. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Until then, walk good.